Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lee Elias. As you know, I'm coming to you live. We're doing a little bit of a test right now, and this will turn into the episode if the test is successful. As you might see, there is a lower third bar there that my wonderful friend and connection, Caitlin, made for us, and we're testing it out, and she's going to let me know any second now if it's working. And if it's working, we're going to go forward with this. If not, I'm going to start over in a couple minutes, too. But I'm waiting for her to come down. Oh, Sharp Shack says it looks fancy. I appreciate it. So, Sharp Shack, since you're the first one, am I coming through clear? Does this sound all right? I'm using kind of a new thing tonight to do this, and I just want to make sure that it doesn't come across wrong or stupid or anything like that. So just comment, let me know. Tonight's topic, as voted by you, is going to be NHL teams and organizations that are helping out during the time period to help out for good. I have a ton of notes. In fact, I'm not even going to be able to get through all 30 teams tonight or 32, I should say, because there's just too much, okay? You look and sound beautiful. I'll take it. So what's happening here is I know there's about a 7-second delay on what I'm saying to what you're seeing, so I do need you to comment tonight. What I am going to do before we start, so again, for those of you who are just joining us, the way I turn this into a podcast every week. So what I have to do is I got to take this broadcast, turn it into a podcast. So I have to kind of restart the episode every time I'm starting. But if you're watching the video, this is what you're going to see. But what I'm going to do now is share this live feed. This is always fun because it's multitasking. I'm going to share this live feed onto some of the other pages that we run, like Elimination Cafe, which if you are not a member yet, you need to be. I've always said that. And also Hockey Wraparound, which is another business that I run. And I just like my own post, which seems kind of weird. But, yeah, we're really stepping up here with this lower third bar, which is pretty awesome at the same time. I got to thank Caitlin once again for taking charge with that and wanting to make this show be even more special as it is. Because it's really special. It's not just special for me. It's not just special for you. It's special for me because you've all allowed me to kind of be part of this and to be part of your day. And it's really touching to me. I don't know how else to say it. So I'm just going to share this to Hockey Wraparound, and then we'll get going here. Again, I got a ton of notes, just a ton of notes, that about teams that are doing. Some of these things are really cool. I didn't know some of these teams were even doing this. We're sharing stories of the NHL teams and players doing good in the community. Here we go. I'll say in their communities. Sorry, it comes with being a writers. All right, so I'm going to share that, posting that, and that's live. So now I can get out of this window. Thank you all, by the way, for letting me troubleshoot this with you on the screen. I appreciate it. Before we get going, let's see what the other comments are here. Look and sound great. Dare I say it looks clear. Hey, I'll take it. I'll take anything. I'm even going to move my camera over a little bit here just to make sure this goes the way I want it to. Oh, I also, before I forget, need to text my father, because I did this one week and I didn't tell him I was doing it, and I guess he didn't get the live feed, and he yelled at me. Well, he didn't yell at me. He was just, he missed it. He said he wanted to see it. I'm going to say, I'm live now on Facebook. I love my father and my mother, but I love them both. Gee, that sounded bad. I love my father and my mother very much, and I want to make sure you guys can saw me using my phone. I went live. Okay. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about tonight. First thing first, before I forget, I need to hit record on my audio because that would have been bad if I just did that entire thing without recording. And we're recording. Look, you guys have been here. This is the behind-the-scenes stuff you don't get to see. This is the behind-the-scenes stuff you don't get to see. This is how a production is made. And now you're seeing it live on Facebook like the rest of us. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to start over again, as I said. I'm looking for your comments here. Jeff Dwyer's on from North Carolina. The yellow brings out your hat. That's good. It's better than the baldness. And here we go. There is so much philanthropic and beautiful things happening across the hockey world right now that I dedicated an episode tonight to talk about what the teams are doing in the NHL. And I'm not even going to be able to get through all 32 NHL cities tonight because there's too much good. So if I went through every city, what they're doing, what their players are doing, and how they're doing it, this episode would legit be 3 to 4 hours long. So what I did tonight, and we might have to do a part 2 of this, is I put down some of the coolest things I've seen. going on around the league. I'm going to invite the people listening from home. So again, if you're listening to this podcast and not watching the video, I'm doing this live on Facebook right now. So I have an audience that's watching and interacting, which we love. That's the best part about Puckdrop Live, is that people can interact with us and watch us. And we're going to go through some of these things that are going on in the NHL today. And this episode will raise your spirits. I don't know how else to say it. If you're not feeling good after this episode, I've done something wrong. Let me put it that way. But yeah, there's just some incredible philanthropic work going on around the league right now. And again, this was the topic that was voted by the followers of Elimination Cafe. So if you're not following Elimination Cafe on Facebook, it's a private group. You have to answer just one question to get in. The question is, do you love hockey? And we don't let anybody in if they don't answer that question, believe it or not. And every week we hold a vote for what's the topic going to be. This one was 2-1 the winner over second place, which is best captains in NHL history. Quick shout out to the Florida Canadiens. He provided me with a head-to-head thing he did on his channel, which was pretty interesting to look at to see who was the best captain of all time. And the winner of that was, you'll have to go to Florida Canadiens page to figure that out. I'm not going to sell him out on air like that. But yeah, here we go. I'm gonna go through some of these teams here. Thank you for listening. Once again, we're broadcasting live on We Live Hockey, Hockey Wraparound, and Elimination Cafe on Facebook Live. This is Puckdrop Live. I am Lee Elias of We Live Hockey, and tonight's topic, once again, is philanthropic work, the best deeds done by teams right now. And I want the audience listening, if you know something or you've heard something that I don't mention tonight, throw it in the comments and I'll make sure that I say it on the show. Because again, this is a topic that we could come back to many times. So before we jump into the first team, I do want to say this. Hockey is a sport that has always stepped up to the plate with philanthropy and with good things, more so probably than most of the other sports when it comes to the athletes. Now, one of the things about hockey athletes, and everybody listening to this is probably a hockey fan, we know how awesome hockey players are most of the time and hockey people are, but I always tell people it's even bigger than you think, because most hockey players, especially in the NHL, while a lot of them get the media coverage, most of this stuff goes without media coverage, and that's the players want it that way. They're not trying to make a huge splash in the news. Now, again, when Sidney Crosby does something, you're going to hear about it, but almost every player I've ever met has some sort of foundation or they've created something where they're helping people. And that's something that the NHL really has championed, in my opinion, when it comes to the other sports leagues. It's not a shot at the other sports leagues. I'm just saying that I think the hockey world does this better than any other league. And look, it's a small, close-knit community. And, it's not just limited to the NHL, is it? I mean, we with my companies, deal with people all the time. We try and do philanthropic work. I know we work with the Penalty Box Foundation, who is a great human being, Drew Lane, who runs that, does unbelievable philanthropic work. And those are just two of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of organizations in hockey that really try and help each other. And this time has been no different. First thing I want to do is also give a shout out to the Real Heroes Project, which is a multi-league initiative, which I thought was really cool. You might have seen some of these things today. Today is National Nurses Day, so shout out to all the nurses out there and all the medical workers. But athletes are covering up the backs of their jerseys, their names on their jerseys, and putting titles, nurses, frontline people, or people that they know that are working the front line right now. Thus, once again, establishing that, for the first time maybe in a long time, our priorities are kind of set right now with who the heroes are. As much as I love sports and professional athletes in the world I work in, at the end of the day, while they are role models and they can be heroes, the real heroes are the firemen, the policemen, the doctors, the nurses, the teachers right now, the families, the people staying at home when you need to be staying at home, the people that have to go to work, the grocery workers, the clerks. I could go on for hours here. People who take the garbage out, municipal workers. Like, again, I got something coming with this soon that I can't wait to share yet. I am teasing that now. Next week, we are launching something brand new that I have told almost nobody about. I think 3 people know about it, but this audience will love it. So I will tell you at the end of the episode when that's coming. Stay tuned for that. Yes, I'm totally teasing you, so you'll watch the episode. But again, you want to watch this episode. This is a good episode, okay? Now that I'm done with my 10-minute intro, let's jump into a team. Montreal, the Montreal Canadiens. I'm reading my notes here. That's why my eyes keep going. Have donated 50,000 meals for the food banks of Quebec, and the goal is 800,000. So they're not even close to their goal yet. I'm not going to try and say this too French because I don't want to butcher it. So if there's anybody listening in Quebec or that speaks French, French Canadians, I am not butchering these on purpose. Please do not yell at me. I took a little bit of French in high school. but I don't speak French fluently. But the Table des Chefs brought together more than 100 chefs and cooks, including those from the Bell Center restaurants. So the chefs from the Bell Center where the Canadiens play, and Taverne. 1909 Signet Saint-Hubert. Again, if I butcher that, I'm sorry. Restaurants in Montreal. A multitude of partners and donors have tried to implement this initiative, which will allow the distribution of prepared meals to hundreds of organizations across Quebec. Montreal, as most of you know, the oldest team in the NHL, leads the NHL in many ways when it comes to outside hockey work, to be fair. And a lot of amazing changes to the game have gone through Montreal, so it's cool to see that. 800,000 meals by the chefs at the Bell Center. So as we go through here too, I want you to know these are not the only things happening in these cities. I just picked the things that I thought kind of stood out, maybe the things you hadn't heard of. Every player and every team is doing something right now. I'm just picking out some of the cool ones so we can discuss them. And I am going to keep looking at your comments on here. I'm already getting a bunch. I appreciate all of you coming on to listen live and all of those of you that are listening to the podcast right now. Christina Marcrush says, you're the right person to speak about this topic as well. I really appreciate that. That makes me feel good that you would think that. Maybe that's why I got so many votes. Here we go. Yeah, Caitlin has just tagged the Penalty Box Foundation also in the chat. If you don't follow that group, make sure you do. They're really a phenomenal group out of New England in the Boston area. We've done work with them. Proud to know Drew Lane, the leader of that organization, and everyone involved with it. They just do it right. They just totally do it right, and we love working with people like that. All right, moving west from Montreal to the great city of Chicago, who won 3 cups in 9 years. Chicago, the United Center is an emergency relief hub right now. So the stadium where the Bulls and the Blackhawks play is now an emergency relief hub. It says the arena and outside campus will be transformed into a logistics hub. So it's not exactly a hospital, follow me here, where we will be assisting frontline food distribution, first responder staging, and the collection of critically needed medical supplies. So one of the things about this crisis, and again, usually when we do this podcast, we're trying to get away from the crisis, but this is one rare topic where we're going to talk about it because you can feel good about it. There's a lot of good things happening in the country right now, countries, North America, involving this. It's not all negative news. If you watch TV all day, you're just going to sit scared in your house. There's a lot of good going on. It's pretty amazing that they've opened up their doors to become a hub. Now, again, for some of you, this might seem obvious. Oh, let's just do it. But there's a lot of costs that go into this. They don't have to do it. It's just the right thing to do. And, you know, when you look back at this time, they can say, hey, yeah, man, the United Center, they opened up their doors. They helped out. Huge stuff. Also, I thought this was cool out of Chicago, the ice crew. That's the girls, the ladies who clean the ice. 4 members, I'm going to name them, are serving on the front lines in the medical field. That's what they do for a living outside of the ice crew. A lot of people don't realize that ice crews and, even in basketball, like dance crews, that is not almost ever their main job. In fact, I don't think you can do that job. I used to work for the New York Knicks and the Rangers. You couldn't get that job unless you had another job. I remember that. That was one of the prerequisites for getting the job because, I'll be honest, it didn't pay enough to live on. But it was, I always found that fascinating because they practice a lot to do what they do. So their names are Christine M., speech language pathologist, who would not be happy with the way I just spoke. Erica E. is an emergency room nurse. Jackie M. is a neuroscience nurse, and Yvonne T. is a physical therapist. So those are all ice crew members of the Chicago Blackhawks that are now on the front lines serving their community. If you're just joining us, we're going over NHL cities and things that the teams, the organizations, and the players are doing, just some cool stories from around the league. And again, it's not limited to the stories I'm telling you. There's good everywhere. There's good just everywhere right now. And again, feel free to comment with the favorite thing you've seen in your city. Vancouver. You went up north to Vancouver. I thought this was pretty cool. They did an online 50-50, right? So for those of you who know sports, 50-50 is the pot goes up. Everybody that donates, half of it goes towards a donation to the winner. Half of it goes to raise money for something else. So they did an online 50-50 and raised $248,000. This is in Vancouver, British Columbia, out west, Western Canada, for COVID relief. And they were donated to food banks, Kids Safe, essential programs, Canadian Mental Health Association, and the Family Services of Greater Vancouver. That just shows another thing of how powerful digital media can be on this, because that was done online. They raised just under $250,000 online. Why would you not do this every week, every game if you could, right? I mean, it would get old after a while. But that's the people. That was the people. That also means they raised just under $500,000, under $500,000 for this whole thing. I didn't dive into the winner, but apparently the winner of the money has an unbelievable story as well. So you can check all these out on the team websites. But because the first question is, well, did she donate the money back? But apparently this is someone who the money is going to a good cause for her family as well. Let's go. Jeff Dwyer says, in Carolina, Stormy the mascot went and surprised a few of the nurses' medical staff today, and I've seen where Stormy has popped into kids' classes on Zoom meetings. Yeah, so a lot of mascots, including Gritty, which we'll get to later, have been doing everything they can to spread cheer. I'm not going to say Christmas cheer, but some form of cheer to local communities. And a lot of players have been doing that too, just popping up in Zoom calls and getting people to smile. All right, this next one I thought was a little fluffy, and then I looked into it, and it was way cooler. So the Columbus Blue Jackets, out of the great state of Ohio. It's a football state that can't win football games unless it's a college team. Ohio fans, come at me. Greg Murray, who is the Columbus Blue Jackets public address announcer. So the guy goes, "Goal scored by number 9, Lee Elias, assisted by number 16, Travis Bowman. Not saved by Jeff Dwyer is in the net." That's how that kind of goes. So he's making cameo videos and donating the money to the Blue Jackets Foundation. And he's trying to do 100 videos for $25. So it sounds kind of weird, right? So for those of you who don't know what cameo is, it's an online service where you can go in, anyone can go in and say, look, I want to shout out my little daughter's turning 10 today. I want a celebrity to send or text me a video of just saying happy birthday. A lot of celebrities are on it. It's a little weird to me, but hey, it's a thing. So he's donating all the money. He's made this very public that, hey, get me to do it. I want to do it. I'm going to try and donate $2,500 to some good causes here. And again, I thought that was kind of like fluffy because I'm like, well, who wants, he's the public address announcer. I totally underestimated the power of this. If you go to Columbus's website and look for this story and watch the kids getting the message, I mean, a lot of them are crying when they get it because they're so impacted by it. The one I remember was there was this young girl, and by young I mean probably 10, 11, 12, clearly a hockey player. Clearly it's her dream to play in the NHL, which is awesome. And she loses her mind when she gets this message. And when he announces her name as like a starting lineup for the Columbus Blue Jackets, she literally breaks down and starts crying. And that was powerful to me. For multiple reasons, but that's so awesome because look, they're at home. Everybody's at home. They can't practice. One of the things I've been thinking about lately, I love to skate. I love to play hockey. I love it still to this day. Every day I get older, and I still want to be on the ice every single day. But I'm way past my prime in terms of a player, and I've got so much going on that not being on the ice, while painful, I can handle it. I'm doing stuff. If I was the 16-year-old me or even the 22-year-old me, this time would be so devastating to not be on the ice, to not be able to train or practice the way I want to. I mean, I would have stayed motivated as I could, but I mean, this puts into perspective, actually. This is the longest I've ever not been on the ice since I had surgery my senior year of high school, all right, which I was out, I think, close to 5 or 6 weeks. All right, so this is the longest I've ever gone without skating. All right, so I imagine that means most of us are in that same boat. So for Greg Murray, the Columbus Blue Jackets person, public address announcer, to do that really made this girl's day. And something like that would have been special to me too. If Jim Jackson, the play-by-play guy from the Flyers, called me, which we didn't have that technology when I was her age, but it's amazing, okay? And again, I feel the pain of the hockey world not skating right now, but we will again soon. Let's keep going here. Oh, also in Columbus, the athletes, I thought this was cool. They're donating pizzas to Kroger workers. So Kroger's, depending on where you live, it's like a grocery store. So they're donating hundreds and hundreds of pizzas to the people at those stores. Hopefully they're eating them after they've washed their hands. I'm sure they are, but that's another cool one. In San Jose, California, Silicon Valley, they created a COVID-19 relief fund for their 1,800 part-time workers. I'm going to read what it says here. Sharks ownership, front office members, coaches, players, and corporate sponsors have already pledged more than $200,000. That's a lot of money to launch the fund with more on its way. So this is something you're seeing on some teams. Some teams you're not. And again, each team is their own. You can come to your own conclusions on what they should be doing. But as you know, a lot of these teams have had to furlough their workers or lay them off. And this is a relief fund for those workers, right, to pay these people because they're not getting their game night funds. Having been an arena worker with the New York Rangers, I counted. It wasn't much, but I counted on that paycheck to survive when I was younger. And I think it's a big deal that they're not getting those paychecks and they're finding a way to get these people money. I think it's the right thing to do. All right. I don't want to talk about whether it's the wrong thing not to do it. I think it shows a great amount of dedication from a team when they're telling their employees, hey, you're part of the team. I think the approach of any team that might take you're expendable and we can get anybody to do your job, I think that's a massive mistake right now. From not just a branding point of view, but a personal point of view. People remember who did what during times like this, and San Jose is doing a great job. And let me tell you something, it is not cheap to live in that area. It is not affordable to live in Silicon Valley or anywhere near it. So it's just something to think about if they're doing that. And like I said, that's a lot of money. Quick one from Pittsburgh, my 31st favorite team in the league, 32nd favorite team in the league. You have heard this one. Coach Mike Sullivan and Sidney Crosby are paying for people's groceries. And I love what Crosby said. I was joking before. Well, I wasn't joking, but I'm joking in terms of this is still awesome. Crosby has been buying people groceries, and the coach has. And Crosby just said other guys were doing it, and I wanted to do it. I just thought that was pretty cool. It's like I want to get on board too. They all want to help, and Crosby has done a tremendous amount, not just for the game, but the people of Pittsburgh to begin with. I think if I really dove more into Pittsburgh, which I didn't, sorry, I'd find even more stuff on them. But the Penguins doing their part as well. Moving up to the northeast of the United States, the Buffalo Sabres. Let's see, check this one out. This is actually the biggest donation I have tonight. The Sabres have done that. Key Bank and M&T Bank partner with Pagula Sports and Entertainment, that's the owner of the Buffalo Sabres, to provide, you ready for this, $540,000 to aid local medical centers. So the money is just coming in and going out to hospitals and anyone who needs that money. And again, look, I can hear some people thinking like, well, that's not a lot of money for $540,000 is a lot of money for an NHL team. And you look at billions, it might not sound like a lot. Any money they give is something they don't have to give. So I think it's amazing. So over $500,000 donated and probably going to keep going up. This next one I think is probably the second coolest one I'm going to talk about tonight. It might be the first coolest one. Maybe we'll hold a vote at the end of what's the best one. But the New York Rangers have done something I was pretty amazed with. So for those of you who don't know, there's an all-in challenge going on around the league. And every team is doing something different. So what the Rangers have done, this is really nuts. I can't believe they pulled this off. They auctioned off a chance to play against the 1994 Stanley Cup Championship team at Madison Square Garden. That's a pretty amazing, that's a once-in-a-lifetime experience if you won that. So the winning bid was $120,500. Now, this is the funny part about this. This is the kind of the hockey thing I'll talk about tonight. Mike Keenan, the coach of that team, who now coaches in the KHL and is a Russian citizen, is coming to the event to coach the bidding winner, meaning he's not going to be coaching the Rangers. Now, what's funny about this is anybody who followed this team or has spoken to anybody on this team, they don't have any love for Mike Keenan, all right? The team does not like him. In fact, I've heard people say, I won't mention any names, but I've heard people say that Messier coached that team to a championship. So that'll be interesting to have Keenan back. Now, I'm sure everybody will be amicable because Mike Keenan, he was there too. But all proceeds are going to Meals on Wheels, No Kid Hungry, America's Food Fund, Feeding America, and the World Central Kitchen. So tall price to pay to play against the 94 champs. It'll be interesting to see what the score is because if I know former NHL players, they're not going to lose. They're not going to especially at MSG. So that'll be an interesting one. In Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, it's a city on the East Coast of America. Not sure if any of you know where that is. The all-in challenge for them is going to be a full Flyers game day experience with Eric Lindros. So, why am I bringing this up? Because the Flyers have another character that's doing a lot for the community. The reason this is cool is because the Flyers have just named Eric Lindros a team ambassador. Now, that might seem obvious to some of you, but Eric Lindros had a what's the word I want to use here? He had a very turbulent time here in Philadelphia. He was the hero of our team from the day he came in till just about 2000, when he left the city on really bad terms. And for about 20 years, I'll say this, for 12 years, a lot of bad blood, a lot of regret from everybody. This guy is a Hall of Famer. This guy's one of the, if not the most powerful player of the 1990s in terms of dominance. And in 2012 at the Winter Classic, a game I was at with my brother, I'm looking at a picture of it right now, I remember they had him back for the alumni game, and he was very well received, which I remember thinking, I have no idea how they're going to receive Lindros here. Very well received. He spent some time with the kids. Everybody saw that, and people really gave him a standing O. They really were happy he was back, which is really, I'm not going to lie to you, surprising and comforting at the same time. It was really cool to see. And then slowly over the last 8 years, they've kind of worked him back in. He's in the Flyers Hall of Fame. They retired 88 at the Wells Fargo Center, formerly the First Union Center, formerly the Core State Center, formerly the Wachovia Center, formerly the Spectrum. Before that, had a lot of names. So for him to be a team ambassador and to really be back in the club, that's actually one of the cooler stories for me, just from a hockey standpoint. It's not really a philanthropic thing, but he's really going to be part of the team now. I think, that says a lot. He is one of the most powerful athletes we've ever had in this city, not just with the Flyers. It's cool to see him back. And the money's going to be donated to COVID-19 charities. Okay, I got 3 more, and then I'm going to start going to the comments here. In Boston, the Boston Bruins Foundation. This is kind of cool. They're raffling off a replica of the goal statue of Bobby Orr. So you probably know this goal a few ways. You've seen it because the goal is known as the greatest goal of all time. If you've ever been to TD Bank Arena, there's a massive statue of this goal right outside. You really can't get into the arena without seeing it. It's one of those things when you see it in person, you kind of stop for a minute and you look at it and you're like, wow, that's it's a pretty amazing statue. And there's just no way you haven't seen this. There's also a famous picture. It's probably the most famous hockey picture of all time of him flying through the air while the Blues were miserable till last year, to be honest with you. So they're going to be auctioning off a replica of the statue, and it says specifically money will go to frontline workers fighting COVID-19, and they are committed to donating $400,000 overall with charities and everything else that they're going to do it. That's pretty amazing. It's not like a life-size statue that wouldn't fit in anyone's home. Although I know some Bruins fans that would put that in their home now that I'm thinking about it, like legit. It's a miniature statue, but it's the exact same statue. It's from the Bruins. It's going to be a collectible. It's probably going to be one of a kind in terms of the size. So that's pretty amazing. Okay, next 2 teams. Carolina Hurricanes. We got a lot of Hurricanes fans on here. The Hurricanes Foundation donates $478,000, including cash grants, to 26 local nonprofits and youth hockey organizations in North Carolina. I know a bunch of people from North Carolina, and it's been amazing how much the Hurricanes have really got their hands into the hockey soil there with local fans. I know a friend of mine whose son plays out there, and they've really done a great job with the local community. And it was tough there for a while. After they won their cup in 2006, there were not a lot of great years there, but they've really come back to prominence in the last 2 years specifically. It's cool to see because Raleigh in North Carolina, it's a good hockey city when they're playing well, and it's good to see the organization's really committed to that. It says this grant cycle brings the foundation and the team's donation totals to more than $16 million in cash grants and kind services since 1997. That is some good philanthropic work right there. All right, I'm going to go on to my last one. What I want you to do if you're listening at home, again, I have not gone through every team here tonight that would make the episode too long, but feel free to start commenting some of your favorite things that players or coaches or teams have done that you've noticed so far. I'm going to start reading those after this next one, but this next one's probably the coolest one. When I say cool, I don't mean because of the donation. It was just cool to see. So the Capitals, owned by Ted Leosis, had an NHL 20 showdown. If you haven't seen this, you need to go watch some of the highlights of this. The NHL 20 showdown between a man named Wayne Gretzky, you might know him, and another man named Alex, let me get this right, Alex Ovechkin apparently was the opponent. And they played NHL 20 for charity. And the game was awesome. So before I spoil it, spoiler alert, if you want to see this without knowing the score, which I don't think is a big deal, go watch it now. Just walk away from this channel for a minute. It'll be over in a little bit. You can come back and watch it. Gretzky's winning the game. I'm going into it now. It's the third period. I'm skipping over it. Gretzky's winning the game, and Gretzky's being Gretzky on the feed. He's surrounded by his family. And Ovechkin's just alone on a couch, being Ovechkin, super focused on winning. He's losing. I think the score is 3-2 at this point, or it's 2-1. With less than 5 seconds left, Ovechkin scores to tie it up. And he goes, the only way I can describe this, full Ovechkin. In his living room, just starts jumping up and down. Yes, yes. And then, Gretzky's just laughing because he's Wayne Gretzky, right? He doesn't care about this stuff. And Ovechkin ties it up and goes nuts. Go to overtime. You might think the young, talented Alex Ovechkin's going to beat the 50-plus-year-old Gretzky. Gretzky beats him in overtime because, of course, he does. Because he's Wayne Gretzky, of course he wins. Ovechkin looks devastated. Just looks devastated because he's a pro athlete. All pro athletes are super competitive. If you watch The Last Dance about Michael Jordan, they talk about this in the last episode. They're uber competitive all the time. That is the nature of professional athletes, especially someone like Alex Ovechkin. You can't turn it off, especially when you're in the middle of your career. He's devastated that Wayne's beat him. He might think this is the only chance I have to actually break one of his records. Even though the goal record's on there, he might be thinking that. And, he's devastated. And Gretzky's just laughing, being Wayne Gretzky's. And, I think they asked him to play another game. He goes, I can't play another game. I'm tired, OV. You tired? And he's laughing. Ovechkin's just, are you tired? We can't play another game. He's just joking. Doesn't realize that he's antagonizing Ovechkin. It raised $40,000. This game raised $40,000. And I know the NHL, the MLB just had a big baseball tournament. I know the NHL's having an NHL 20 tournament. $40,000 to watch Gretzky beat Ovechkin at NHL 20, a game that we don't love too much. Speaking of games, I got to give a shout out to my man, Ray Carcillo, my best friend. If you're a baseball fan, I know we don't talk about baseball, I know, but he's playing a full MLB season on his Twitch channel, Ray Carcillo. You should check that out. It's fun. He calls the games as he does them. I know I've teased this. It's really good. All right, go on my personal wall if you want. There's a video of him hitting a home run last night in the All-Star game. You need to watch this because I put some music to it. All right, let's get to some of your comments. 30 minutes in. I'm going to scroll up here because there's a lot. Okay. And again, if you're somehow just joining us, we've been going over great things done by hockey teams, players, coaches during this pandemic to give back to the community because hockey always gives back. Here we go. I read that one already. Okay. Parker Beard says, I hope you're doing well. I just took a part-time job that involved putting my life on the line as a delivery driver for Pizza Hut. You're not wrong. A customer personally thanked me for risking my life and working during these difficult times. I'm going to like that because I can. I'm going to tell you right now, Parker, that you're not wrong. Okay. And that's one of the things, if you want to talk silver linings, we're starting to realize now finally the worth of jobs in this country, the things that you don't think about, the pizza delivery man who needs to bring you your sustenance, the teachers who are doing everything they can to teach my kids, and they're devastated they can't see them. I said it before, the grocery workers, frontline workers, municipal workers, all of you. You've always been heroes to me. The military, all of you. Don't let anybody tell you that. I thank my grocery people every time I'm in the store right now. Thank you for being here. Thank you for putting yourself on the line. Let's keep going here. Caitlin Elizabeth says, Kevin Hayes of the Philadelphia Flyers, hottest team in the NHL 2 months ago, has also been buying meals for different types of essential workers. Yeah, I've heard a lot of stories of players just buying food, doing anything they can to be kind. I love seeing that. Again, this isn't just limited to hockey. Let's be honest. Every sport we're seeing this right now. Caitlin also said that she wants that Bobby Orr statue. I have a feeling the people of Boston want it more than you, Caitlin, but that is a pretty iconic hockey moment. You should get the picture of that. Everyone's seen it. Christina Marcos says, I put blade shades on that statue. Well, look, I might have put a picture of that as well. So Christina actually did share a picture of blade shades on that Bobby Orr statue. I do remember that. I was thinking that when I was talking about it. And we used that on our page. That was pretty awesome. Jeff Dwyer says, I've got a replica CCM Bobby Orr jersey hanging up with my 06 ones. Is that what that's supposed to say? And you are correct. The area has really come together over the last few years in Carolina. Yeah. Jeff Dwyer, who lives out in Raleigh in that area, the Hurricanes have really done a lot to really reinvigorate that fan base. They got their first generation of loyal followers in 2006 when they won that cup, and they faltered hard. But the fans stayed, and the organization is still there. And as I said before, they're doing a lot of good out there in Carolina, having donated $16 million since the start of the organization and close to $500,000 so far this year. Drew Lane's on here, and he says, Cam Atkinson Force Network Fund. There's another one for you to look up. All right, he's been doing a lot. Drew, welcome to the show. I'm glad you're here tonight. Parker Beard says, living next town over from Raleigh, Carolina fans are passionate and energized when the team plays well. It's absolutely true. The storm surge and Don Cherry saying what he said was one of the best things that could have ever happened in that organization. And I give them so much credit for taking that and running with it. The bunch of jerks line and not letting anyone tell them how to do hockey in Carolina. I love that no one should ever tell you how you should be playing hockey in your city. And I love that the Hurricanes have not allowed that to happen, and they've made it part of their program. And I really hope they can sustain being a competitive team for a long time because the fans there deserve it. Let's keep going here. So we got people coming together here. Jeff and Parker just talking to each other about that. Jeff says, I'm the kilt guy. So for those of you who don't know, Jeff Dwyer in Raleigh is also known as the Kilted Caniac, or one of them. I know there's multiple ones. He wears a kilt to every game and dances around. And if you see that guy on St. Paddy's Day, buy him a beer. I'll put it that way. Parker says he lives in Durham, and I might have seen you at a few Canes games. So there you go, Jeff. You're famous. People know who you are. Mark Pollard joining us late from Australia. Too late. How are we doing today, guys and girls? Mark, we're talking about great deeds from NHL players, and everyone is saying hello to Mark in here. This guy is such a friendly group in here. Mark did apologize for being late later, and he says it won't happen again. I don't know. Jeff also wants to remind everybody that the Carolina Hurricanes beat the Toronto Maple Leafs with a backup goalie. With an e-bug goalie this year, a Zamboni driver. It's a true story. So I'm going to stay on here for another minute. If you have any more great stories from around the league, share them now. Look, the key of this episode was this. It was just to raise your spirits, just to let you know there's a lot going on around the world, but a lot going on with the league. It's so great to see hockey step up to the plate. And again, I've said this before. It's not just the teams, it's the organizations. Penalty Box, as I said, is a great one that we've been working with for a while. I don't mean to keep saying their name. I just really believe in what they're trying to do. And there's hundreds of these organizations. I mean, Christina Marcrush, who's listening to this right now, I've seen her do on-location coaching through her computer with the kids just because she loves to do it. It's the only reason she's doing it, because she loves to do it. And this hockey family is so tight-knit. But it's everywhere. I got to say this again, and I'm not trying to get political. If all you do is watch your TV, you're going to be scared, you're going to feel alone, and you're going to be in a dark place. Remember, TV runs on ratings, and I'm not saying you shouldn't stay informed. Don't take it that way. I'm not trying to say anything bad. Get out of your house. Look around. Everywhere I go, I'm seeing good deeds done. I'm seeing bad stuff too, don't get me wrong. But the good so far outweighs the bad. To see this country and Canada come together, America has 315 million people in it. I'd say 314 million of them are doing the right thing and taking care of each other and their family and their friends and saying hello and thank you. So I'm proud of everything right now. I'm proud of what we've done together here as a country is North America. And I'm going to continue to be proud because we are beating this thing. And I think that's not said enough. We're beating this thing. The numbers show that we're beating this thing. They also show that we should be cautious and not be stupid. So, just take that for what it is wherever you're living, okay? I just want you to know there's so much good coming out of this. You talk about people and places and teams showing their true colors, so much good. I just think that's the message you got to take away from this and feel good about it, right? I want you to feel good. That's why we have these shows. Feel good. I'm yelling at you. Feel good. All right. So also, I just wanted to say here, again, we vote on the topic every single week about what we're going to talk about. And this week, by and large, again, was to this topic, the good deeds going around the NHL. But if you're listening at home on the podcast or you're listening live, every week we have new topics we try and vote on Elimination Cafe, which is our Facebook group. You can find it just by searching Elimination Cafe. And I want to let you know, I'm always looking for good topics, but the audience must decide. That's one of the things about this show. I push for topics I want sometimes, and they don't always get voted in. And again, I'm trying to make this show kind of an escape from COVID land, as I've been calling it. And those of you listening have really been a big support of that. And I really, really appreciate that. All right, let's leave the last few messages, and then I'm going to sign off for the night. Mark's blaming his job. He had a mandatory meeting. Well, I can't argue with that. If you had to be at your work, you had to be at your work. Thanks for working. And then a lot of people talking about Toronto losing to a Zamboni driver. Let's go. Mark's asking if he needs a note from his mom. You don't need a note from your mom. Okay. I was planning on coming on a little early tonight. And I didn't. So last final messages, a few things is hockey never stops. I got to bring this up. Hashtag hockey never stops. We are giving away at my company, Hockey Wraparound, a free wraparound every single day. We have done over 55 giveaways in a row. Just so you know, if you don't know my product, it's a $30 product. We're giving it away every single day. It allows you to play hockey outside with your ice hockey stick. All you have to do to get involved in this is share a picture on Instagram or Facebook and tag hashtag hockey never stops. And if you want us to really see it easily, use @HockeyWraparound. With that said, for my loyal listeners, if I always say that, next week, Travis and I will be launching something new that I want you all to be a part of. It is completely free. There's no catch with that. It is something we've been working on for a while. We wanted to do something fun for the hockey community that was, let's just say, in the essence of challenging. Okay, I'm going to tease this real hard and not tell you much. I'm not going to lie to you, but keep your eyes peeled to We Live Hockey and Hockey Wraparound next week in Elimination Cafe. We're going to be launching something new. Does not matter if you actually play hockey or not. Everyone can get involved, and we're going to have some cool items that you might be interested in winning. That's the most I can tell you. But we're really working on it hard. We're really excited to show it to you. And we want our We Live Hockey audience to really specifically be involved in this because it's been built from the conversations we've had over the last few years and stuff like that. So with that said, a lot of people saying goodnight to me already. I really appreciate it. I want to thank you all once again for coming on to Puckdrop Live and talking about recent good deeds by hockey players and people and teams. If we want to do a part 2 of this, we can in a few weeks because it's only going to grow. And again, feel free to comment on this below, even if the episode's ended. Anything you've seen that's been great. I want to share the good. I want to share as much good as we possibly can. Caitlin's making a good point. She said she's excited about this and she doesn't even know what it is. And that's true. We Travis and I have kept this very, very close to our chest. I think maybe 3 people have seen it. So it's going to be held very close to our chest right now. But real quick before signing off, today's date is Wednesday, May 6th, 2020. My name is Lee Elias. This has been Puckdrop Live, talking about recent good deeds by hockey players, hockey teams, and hockey people. I want to thank you all once again for tuning in. I want to remind you that no matter what happens, stay above water, keep fighting. If you need someone, reach out to someone. It could be me. It could be the front of yours. Enjoy it the best that you can during this time. It's important that we stick together, all right? Once again, this is Lee Elias. Thanks so much for watching or listening, no matter where you are. Check us out at Hockey Wraparound on Facebook, We Live Hockey on Facebook, and Elimination Cafe on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or, we're everywhere, okay? Y'all have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon. So this is weird. Now I have to wait to watch myself stop talking because if I don't, I'll just end myself in the middle of my conversation. Now this is more behind-the-scenes stuff because there's a delay. So now I have to wait. Now you have to watch me do this for a minute so I know it's going to stop. In fact, I'm waving my fingers in front of the screen now, and this is going to be my 5-second countdown. Thanks so much for watching.